Dropping knowledge on Grambo grows. Talking about plants and how they go. Let's go. From seeds to the cure, we always smoke pure. Nothing but good vibes up in here. We blaze the ganja, keep it fire. Grambo grows, burning desire. Learn about cultivation, step by step. You can rock out the negativity. Cannabis vibes up in here. Grambo grows, vibes up in here. Grow, my bring it light.
From the seed to cure, we only smoke pure. Nothing but good vibes up in here. Grambo grows. Shout out Cannabis Vibe. What an awesome theme song. I had my girlfriend was in this weekend, hung out, and the Kansas Cutie for all you guys that know that lore. And yeah, I serenaded her with my own theme song. I was like, nothing but good vibes up in here. And she's like, oh, I love that. And I was like, oh, you don't know my theme song? Allow me to sing it to you romantically. So shout out to Cannabis Vibe. Not only am I playing that up in here, it's I'm playing it, bomb chicka wow wow music. You guys know what I'm talking about. Try not to get age restricted. Jesus Christ, leave me alone. Yeah. Everything's been going good. Shout out to everybody in here. What up, Wisconsin, Gramborg? We got a lot of the Gramborg, a lot of the channel members, the guys supporting the movement here. We got LJ Jones, Gramborg. What up, buddy? Good to see you. We got Chad Westport in the house. What's up, Chad Westport? Always good to see other content creators. We got Chonky Nugs, Gramborg. We got Crazy Days, Gramborg. We got all the homies up in here. Let me scan all the way to the top and see what's going on up here. I'm so stoked. Normally I'm all free on Sundays by this time of day, but I was in dad mode all weekend and or not all weekend, all day today. And so yeah, I'm ready to cure from seed to cure. Nothing but good vibes up in her, as it was there. So yeah, it was awesome. What up, C Bunny? I was over on the C Bunny and Gannick's new show over there. It's awesome vibes over there. I was having a blast. I think you can still find the links on our Instagram. We're in dab mode. We are entering dab mode. What do we got here? Smoking a weed at work and watching Grambo. Hell yeah, brother. That's what's up. The weed is like, I'm convinced, like, especially for the service industry, weed is the only thing keeping this country glued together sometimes. I swear to God. Yeah, shout out. 500 subs. It's fucking, it's hard out there. It's hard to get the subs. It's amazing. It's all about algorithmic discoverability. But I had a blast. I was at the bakery, and Scotty Rio was just off camera. He was doing some weird experiments. Scotty's been experimenting with a new Real Growers product. I don't know. It's some new stuff. You're going to have to make sure you follow what's going on over there. I need nothing but good vibes up in here t-shirt. Me too. I need that shirt. That's freaking awesome. Yes. Fireheart, weed. It's good. Love comes in spurts. Is that a joke? I feel like that's a joke. No, not new grow dots. I'm not going to spoil it here. I got inside information, man. Go watch C Bunny and Gannick's podcast over there. It was a good one. It's and a Gramborg hat. Well, that's you don't get a Gramborg hat, smoke a lot of potamus, because you're Gramborg, only the 22 strong. So yes, what you guys are smoking in chat. I always like to see what you guys are smoking. Are you smoking better stuff than me? I like to see. It's tough. It's tough because I got this good. If you guys know, for the last several weeks, I've been what are we at? 3 minutes? That's dab o'clock. Come on. The censors can't censor. They can't keep me down. And so you guys know I've been smoking on this Tropicana Sour D. I always say, you got to check your weed privilege when you have blank black containers sitting around. Not that I don't have my stash of Tropicana. I got Tropicana on Tropicana here, boy. I got it. So yeah, not only is he an awesome grower, not is he only an awesome hash maker, he designs all this stuff. So as a Renaissance man myself, you guys, I'm sure you've heard the legends of the Tropicana boxes. Those things are making their rounds. It's so cool. It's like luxury dabs, but like small, small business sort of stuff. What up, LDGC 420? My man showed up with a Grambo Grows shirt at the DGC Cup. Always has a special place in my heart. The first man I met wearing my merch. That's sick. And right after I met LDGC 420, I met my girlfriend at the DGC Cup, where she will be. She says she's coming. So June 6th, June 7th, dgccup.com. Get your tickets. They're going to sell out. We only have about 500, and they're going fast. We put out a video. We got 600,000 views over there on Dude Grows. That's quite the advertisement. We got a lot of advertising there for the DGC Cup. So I just smoked without him. I should have brought the man in. So you guys know who I'm talking about. One of my oldest homies rolling around, one of the oldest hash makers I know in the game. This is like an ever-changing thing. So a lot of the people that were in the game before this man, I think they get stuck in their old ways a lot. Like certain folks catch up, but like I said, I love a good Renaissance man, a guy that can do lots of different things. I'm a musician, a comedian, a producer, a weed connoisseur. Does that count? I don't know.
Yeah, of course it does.
There, you heard his voice.
Hey, yeah, of course. What's going on, bro?
It's good to see you, my friend.
How are you? That sour is really good, isn't it?
Oh, it's honestly, it's the best. Funnily enough, and it's not in the boxes yet, is it?
No, it is. It's in the new boxes. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I think Scotty
okay.
probably kept it for himself. I don't know if he's
I
watching.
know I gave Banner a gram because I know Banner enjoys the good sour diesel. So I hooked him up with a gram at the party, at the Taking Tops Toy Drive party that we all got to hang out at.
Oh yeah, that was a
Yes,
good time
he came
for
back
sure.
and said legit fire. So when you get Banner, Gabe, Jaron, all those guys on,
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I
you know
mean,
it's good
dude,
shit.
Keith gave me the cut. Keith Lands from Sour Family Genetics, and it's it's second to none. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
It is legit. I've been one thing I'll say for anyone that gets a Turpicana Kyle's gear, you got to stir that shit, man. Like, don't leave a container sitting for like a week and then pop it open and just dab the top of a thing. It's set. He just showed me this giant jar.
Can I
We're trying
show
to
it
keep
on
this.
here or no?
Yeah, why
Okay,
not?
yeah.
I'm
So
already
here's
I'm already
this
getting
is a
banged every day.
jar, and all of that is a terp layer, basically. Um,
Look at that.
so
A
if
fractionation.
I'm putting this in smaller jars, I have to stir the shit out of it.
Yes, and it doesn't matter if it's a big jar like that or you got to stir. Your shit separates, man. It's so terpy. You get a layer of just pure terps on the top, and it's good, but you got to stir it. You got to stir it.
Yeah, you got to stir it, but I mean, a lot of the hash makers will pour the terps off. So they'll take that whole layer on top and they'll pour it into another jar and use it for carts, or they'll use it for diamonds and sauce or whatever. And I don't like to do that just because I feel like the terps are kind of what you're going for anyway, right? So
What would be the in your mind, or if there is an actual definition? What is sauce a thing? Hey, look at this. I called out
yeah,
Smoke a lot of Potamus. I
for
was like,
sure.
"You're not Gramborg." Well, he is now. Welcome, the newest member of the Gramborg, supporting the channel with $5 a month. Smoke a lot of Potamus, my man. Thank you, buddy. Shout out to the Slipknot born humans. Wink. You guys know what I'm saying.
So yeah, the runniness of it like has its pros and cons. Like I like terps, so I like to not pour them off, right? So you're not getting a fraction of what was actually extracted. You're getting the full thing. Um, there are some cons, like obviously if you use a rig like the Dabex here, it just shoots right through the bottom of it. So um, it's kind of personal preference. A lot of people, if they get like an ounce, they'll have a terp layer on top, and if they don't want the super runny consistency, they'll pour it off.
You know
But
what?
yeah, we
I'll
leave it
give
in there.
advice on that. You were nice enough. You hooked me up with a an ounce jar. Thank you so much. I can't encourage everyone out there. Go support Kyle. Go support Taking Tops Instagram. What are you guys on now? Potato? What is this I'm hearing?
Yeah, I
You're on
think I think he's on Potato, which is like I don't know
Potato.
some new app
Yeah.
that he's on. I don't do That's all
But
him.
you guys can definitely find all this gear. You can get it out in the world. We'll just say that. Hit
For
up
sure.
Kyle, hit up Tops. We'll make sure that you get it. Here's one of my advice though. If you get a big jar, half ounce or an ounce, I suggest get what is known as the guest bindle. You know, in the coquizzle circles, they call it the guest bindle. You know, you keep like 2 grams over here and a quarter gram over here. Get a little small container. That way, you know, you can just I stir up my ounce and I slice off a couple grams in there, and then I put the ounce away and I keep it in the cool dark closet, you know, and then I got my 2 grams that is easier to maintain. So that's my
So
hash.
that's the way to do it all day.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
then it is annoying because then they run out. I filled this up like yesterday, dude. It
they
ran
run out,
out
but
fast.
it's better than just opening the jar and dipping into it every time. Kind of the way I do it too.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's so terpy, it's the VOCs, it's gonna volatilize.
Yep, exactly. That's why I keep my stuff in jars, you know, sealed usually in a very cold environment, um, because of that.
In growing, do you ever like do anything with like sulfur compounds or anything? That's one of the things I've been getting into is the esters and the thiols, you know, the sulfur compounds, the building blocks of terps. Do you fuck with any sort of supplements that
I
bring in some
mean,
sulfur?
not like I'm so busy right now that I don't have time for anything besides what I have going on. But as far as like isolating different compounds and distillation, I don't do much of it right now just because I don't have the bandwidth. Like I said, I'm way too busy. But it's not
As
that
far as
hard. I
like
mean,
as far as inputs in the actual garden in the flower stage, not
as
adding anything. You just run straight new
no,
mill line, right?
well, I'm running new mill with a few different additives, involved in that. Obviously, the Thunder Bloom is
Ooh, you
killer.
got that Thunderbloom.
I've had the Thunder Bloom, dude. It throws down.
Yeah, you're one of the beta testers of that. That's freaking so awesome,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, it's such a small community. Like, I run into Kyle everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, it's like you, and then shit. What's homeboy that does the shit gold jacket at the party? I can never remember his freaking name.
Nick,
Nick.
Nick,
I see
cannabis
Nick is
connoisseur.
everywhere. Yes, cannabis connoisseur. Follow him on Instagram. Awesome freaking page
Yeah,
over there.
he's a
Also on
great dude. I
Facebook.
love Nick.
Yeah, you and Nick are everywhere. Dottie wants to know what Thunderbloom is. I know what it is, but I've never actually held it in my hand. What is the new Millennium Thunderbloom?
So okay, not to confuse anybody, there was a Thunder Bloom that New Millennium had out for a long time. This is different. This is the new beta version, which is basically, um, yeah, You're a Mailman Grows. It's a replacement for Green Sensation. I wouldn't say it's a replacement, but
Oh,
it could be. But you want to use it with Green Sensation. So Green
how does
Sensation,
how does
what's
Mailman know this? How do I not know this? And Mailman's chirping this off. You're in deep, Mailman.
Yeah, it's a great supplement, but it's basically monopotassium phosphate and a bunch of other um, biostimulants that really boost your bloom. And Neil from New Millennium really knows what he's doing, so it uh,
Mm,
it definitely works well, especially with the Green Sensation. I run both together, and it crushes,
okay.
absolutely crushes.
The Jug Dealers Podcast.
Yeah,
It's funny. I do get so like in my clickety clacks, over there with the putting the podcast together that I actually miss a lot of the
you
details.
don't
So
watch it. Yeah, you're behind you're like
yeah,
moving around people's faces and stuff.
yeah. Jaron calls me the man behind the glass, but there's no glass. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
No, there isn't. No, but I love
Yeah, that's
I love the Thunder Bloom. It's
That's
phenomenal.
interesting because I would always tell people like so I ran grow dots with from Scotty over there, and then they came out like excellent, excellent, excellent. And one of my like wink wink tips is like, well, I was top feeding a little bit of stuff. I was actually top feeding some silicium in there,
Okay,
and then I was also my secret weapon is that goddamn green sensation. I
there you
hear
go.
tell it's one of the more expensive bottles on earth, but I swear to God, it was my secret weapon.
It's worth it. It's worth
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I've used that stuff for like 11 years now, or maybe even a little longer. And
Wow.
it is worth the money back then, and it's worth the money now.
Mhm.
Especially
Here's
for
a
hash. I mean, for hash, it's a no brainer. Like yeah, I wouldn't be able to do what I do as far as yields without green sensation. There's no way.
Hell yeah. So for people, I bring you in as if like everybody knows. A lot of different people are going to see this. This is my buddy. This is Tropicana Kyle. We both are Colorado homies, been hanging out for a long time. You're a hash maker. You are a weed grower. You grow some of the, you know, what's shocking is like, we smoke all your hash, right? But you gave us over at 5/8 some flour.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, like, I don't know what I expected. Of course, the flour that makes the hash is also going to be good, but yeah, I almost liked your flour more than I liked your hash, man.
Thank
Like
you.
maybe it's just
Thank you.
a little strange. I like smoking some strange.
Well, the HPS, the UV lights, the new Millennium line, green sensation, as we talked about, proper CO2, proper environment. I mean, it's unbeatable.
I'll make a little micro announcement for all you guys that I've been trying to make a lot of noise, and I guess I've been making enough noise that I got the attention of Mr. Grow It. So I'll be on the Mr. Grow It show here next month. And when he asked what kind of growing stuff do you want to talk about, the first thing that came to my mind that interests me the most currently about cannabis is environment and phenotypic expression. So, and this leads us into the HPS thing. You run the HPS, you run the UVs. It always bugged me, like especially it's a good topic with the sour diesel. I always wondered, where did the sour diesel, where did it go? You can't get it. I moved to Denver hoping it'd be everywhere, and it went away. 10 years later, I finally figured out, well, it's not grown under HPS in this fucking, yada yada, like it's not grown with GH nutrients. It's not this bullshit salts, like the way that the weed that I smoked was ran in a very probably glassed hoods, vented glassed hoods, and just blasted with low quality salts all packed together, super humid probably is what I'm picturing. And so it all of a sudden made sense. The genetics are part of it, but as Jaron always likes to say, phenotype is genotype times environment. And so you have an interesting environment. You're running when I was on Mr. Ganick and C Bunny's podcast here this week, one of the things that was kind of my tiptoe kind of statements was like, they're talking about how all the scientists that are getting the game, there's certain B men out there that get a lot of credit that say that UV does nothing. And I go, man, here's the thing. Like when you put it in a plant jail, they're going to do a controlled condition. You put it in plant jail with a randomly picked strain, with randomly picked all, what was any of the fucking environmental inputs, what was the cultivar that you put in there, and then okay, in this exact scenario, you didn't get data that proved that blah 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 UV does anything. Well, I know a lot of people, and you at the forefront, that say the UV does do a little something. You've been running for a while now.
Yeah, and there's different kinds of UV, right? I mean, I was talking to Scotty, and he was like, UVC, like what? And he hadn't heard of it.
I got to shout out to Crazy Days. I've never seen this. I didn't know you could gift subs. Crazy Days just gifted out 5 subs. I don't even know what that means. So I guess welcome 5 people. I don't know. That's awesome. Thank you, Crazy
I don't know how that works either.
Kyle, you're bringing out the love. I haven't got this much love from the GramFam in a while, man. Oh, look at this. Welcome, Cryptic. Welcome. I don't even. I'm gonna have to figure out your name. Audun? Well, how would you say that, Kyle?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Well,
Where?
I'm gonna have to find
here?
it. Put it in phonetic. Chad Westport, you're right, sick. That's sick. I didn't know that was a thing. I feel like a Twitch streamer right now. Thank you for the gift sub. Yeah. Shout out GRAMBO.twitch.tv.
That is dope.
_Tropicana. Yes, that's cool. So continue. I interrupted you about the UV.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize that UVC is much different. You can't actually be in the room when they're on. Jair has a ton of data regarding exactly what it does, and it's not, bullshit. So for me, I've seen results from it. They're not that expensive, and running them, I think they're 150 watts. They're not that, power.
Yeah, they say that, you think of it like how not Ruby, but like something like Winter Frost, or like maybe PK Appetite, or one of these things. It's an additive to the bases, right? So think of your HPS as your base, and then these UVs are the additives. And I know there's bars out there and everything, but we focus on, 'cause we're DLI family, Dutch Lighting Innovations. That's Jair's company. He's one of the founders of Gavita over there. And when he got out of Gavita, he started Dutch Lighting Innovations. DLI, clever name. Shout out Lee.
Yeah, he basically took all the best engineers from Philips E. Papillon and Gavita and started DLI. So yeah, they're the best,
Yes.
definitely the best in the game for sure.
And just knowing the guy, being able to hang out with Jair quite a bit in my life, this guy is no nonsense. He has no time in he's got money, he's got credit, he's got a legacy. You know, he could quit now and he's got his money and his legacy and his credit, and he'll get handshook at every single event he goes to. But he got back in the game because he saw what was going on. He's like, I can do it better. It's kind of
Well,
crazy.
and he makes some of the only double-ended HPSs that are worth a shit nowadays too. All the Gavitas are made in China. They're all trash. Their customer service sucks. So
Man, speaking of China, shout out to all the CapCut and TikTok bans. I didn't know that CapCut was going to get banned. Holy shit. I kind of laughed because CapCut's so easy to use that you don't have to know how to edit. Well, now you fucks have to know how to edit.
exactly.
Rest in peace, CapCut.
So yeah, no, the flower that comes out of that room from HPS and the UV combo is ridiculous. I mean, huge buds, super dense.
Have you grown much with LED in your life, or have you just always kind of stuck in that world?
So yeah, of course. And LED, I think, has come a long way, right? Like I remember when Jair had sent Bo the original LEDs that they were working on to chlorophyll, and Bo turned it on, and it was a bright white light that was just blinding me. And this is back in like the Next Light days, probably 2017, 2016, something
That's
like
early.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like you got to realize too, a lot of the older growers and older school people, like we had to blow out houses and garages and bedrooms and you name it, anything we could in a rental or wherever, basements, you know, just to be able to do it. And there weren't any LED lights, right? They were like shitty purple and red and, you know, bullshit lights that you wouldn't yield. Yeah, you wouldn't yield anything. So when the newer LEDs came out, I think a lot of us were skeptical about it, and the tech has gotten so much better now to where I think that you can do really well with LEDs. But the structure and the density and everything else that you get from HPS, you just don't get with LED.
Yeah, and this is what's so interesting. This is why, once again, I've been converted because hanging out with Gabe, you know, like I've got to see hands-on a lot of stuff that's changed my mind. And I was a CRI guy, color rendering index, right? So it's how close a light can match the sun. And yes, thank you, Crazy Days. Seriously, shout out to you, buddy. And so CRI, color rendering index, and so HPS is like a 40, something like that, and then so like ceramic metal halide comes out and it's like a 60 or something like that, 55, 60. Maybe I'm getting my numbers a little off. Maybe HES is a little higher. And then these LEDs come out, these white LEDs, and all of a sudden it's like, dude, look at the CRI. It's freaking, 80 plus and stuff. That's the light for me. And so I was just like, I wouldn't listen to an like if someone's like, I use HPS, it's like, okay, boomer sort of response, but then
For sure.
slowly but surely, it's just like every time I get like the best weed, I'll always ask like how is it grown? It's not always. 80% of the time, it feels like it's grown under HPS. I feel like Jaron is the only guy getting the true dank out of an LED.
Yeah, and you can grow dank with LEDs for sure.
Yeah.
It's just like I was saying, it's really a weight and structure and density kind of thing. And the expression is totally different under HPS versus
that's what I was just about to say. It's not that you can't grow the dank. It's that I've been smoking weed for 28 years, and it's just one of those things that like I have the things I like and I can't get them, like even growing my own weed. Like, and I've been growing with LEDs since my black market days were over, and I just never grew a diesel. I never grew a chem because like, I just assumed like the cuts are dead, whatever, genetic drift, whatever it is, genetics don't work. And then it made me realize, like, oh shit, like, I don't know, I don't have the space or the headroom to grow with HPS. It's just too hot for me to deal with in my life. So that is to be considered. Just the power consideration. You can plug it into a 120, or a 110 thing if you get the right light. That's huge for most people. So you have an insane, once again, for people that aren't familiar with you, you are out there in central western Colorado.
I'd say, yeah, southern Colorado.
Southern Colorado. Okay.
Yeah, like straight up southern Colorado.
And so tell us about how big is your indoor grow, your outdoor grow, your greenhouse? What kind of numbers are you running?
Yeah, so for my indoor, I'm running 30 lights total. That's just indoors, and then outdoor in the summer, I'll run a few different patches of plants depending on what strains I'm running and how I'm trying to do it. Um, plant count kind of varies. It could be much bigger plants that take up the space of a bunch of smaller plants. So kind of just depends. And then I have a geodome attached to my house that I also grow in. That's where I grew a lot of the testers for the stuff that I'm running now this summer. And then I have another greenhouse that's veg that's behind me, behind that window. So yeah, no, it's definitely awesome out here and living in the mountains and just doing it.
Yeah. So Cryptic just wrote, like, I wonder how a plant would look with HPS supplementation. That is becoming one of the more modern trends, is the mixed spectrum.
Yeah, mixed light for sure.
Yeah, because it's not, what's interesting, and this is full bro science. It's like you look at the spectrum graph of like the lights, and it's like, well, LED is covering all of what HPS is, but HPS isn't covering, nearly what LED does. And it's so interesting. It's like, it's not that maybe the plants might grow, I don't know, better in certain ways, but the density and then the expression, those seem to be the two things that really jump out to me.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people can't run HPS, like you said. There's not enough air exchange. It's too hot. They don't have enough AC. There's a lot of different factors. They don't have a high enough ceiling. But back in the day, that's all there was to grow good weed, right, inside. So you had to figure out, how do I run an HPS with an 8-foot ceiling? And you'd have people just running rows and rows of ducted hoods and doing it that way, and it worked, but it definitely drew a lot of power and required a fair amount of air conditioning tonnage for sure.
In my basement, we ran a flip box, so we had 16 lights, but we're running 8,000 fucking watts of power down there, and it's just like, for just like a house, we would go. Here's a Colorado story for you. What it was like back then. We would go and pay our $1,600 a month power bill in cash every month.
Oh yeah,
and they're just like thank you, see you next time.
And they know what you're doing too. Like they can tell on their their meter, basically.
Your power seems to spike around 10 p.m.
and for 12 hours.
And then for 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how a lot of my buddies got busted back in the day, was power and running warehouses, and just they had high power bills, and they always paid them right on time. But yeah,
there's three ways to get busted in my eyes. It is power bill, trash, and snitch. Those are pretty much the only leaks you have. If you can plug those 3 leaks, you're pretty good. Don't tell anybody. Figure out your power situation. Don't steal it. Don't do that.
No, don't do that. No. I mean, you could back in the day, just because it was so risky anyway, that you were like, I'm going to jail regardless. So now there's no point in doing any of that, I don't think. If anything, call and get your power upgraded if you need to do that.
My buddy, who we call Nice Guy Kenny up in Fort Collins, is a good buddy of mine up there. He famously might have been helping himself to a little bit of power and had this giant grow operation, and he ended up on the show Border Wars. They raided his house on national TV.
Oh no.
My freaking buddy, I saw the footage. I was like, that's Kenny's house.
That's
holy
crazy.
Shit, dude. You're like, this sophisticated drug operation was doing the thing. I was like, oh, Kenny ain't sophisticated. He's just a caveman. He's just like me. He's just a bald caveman.
Oh jeez. Yeah, that's definitely not a place I want to be, is on a TV show getting raided. No, thank you.
Dear God.
I'm all good.
If you got to get raided, I suppose if I had the choice of getting beat up in front of no cameras or in front of cameras. I don't know. I'm a whore for the cam.
Yeah, I don't know. I just doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, one of the
I guess
things.
you have like a relic of it, but still, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
Well,
something
that's
I
one
would
of the
want
things that like
broadcasted.
is such a bummer. Like hanging out in the cannabis community, I don't have to tell you, it's all a bunch of really soft souls, some good freaking people. So and then everyone's got a story about, I remember I was raided. I remember the DEA kicked my door down. It's like just normal people. And we all have these rap sheets. It's so stupid.
I mean, yeah, the people who were doing it back in the day though had a lot more enforcement on them. Like now they don't. I mean, they care, but they don't really care. There's so many people growing that unless you're really
Yeah.
doing it big, they're kind of pretty relaxed. Like we had a buddy who got raided for mushrooms in Denver. I think like probably 3 weeks ago, and
What?
the cops, the whole SWAT team, well, not SWAT team, but like raid team showed up at his house because someone called him in, and they came in and saw like he was doing everything above board as far as mushrooms and growing and like following all the rules and I guess was within his plant count and everything, and they just said, uh, we know about everything that's going on in Denver. Basically, we just don't have we don't there's nothing we can do. We're focused on all the bigger shit, like
Huh.
the bigger drugs. So they
That's
came
the
and
only
basically left. They were like, "Yeah, no, you're good. You're not doing anything that's crazy here." So
So yeah, in Denver, it's decriminalized. I don't really, or it's legalized, I guess. I don't know even what that means to have something legalized in the city limits, but
what
that's
is
crazy.
you mean psilocybin or
Yeah, mushrooms are
yeah, yeah,
are
yeah,
legal in Denver proper, not Colorado, just Denver.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's wild. Even though or Colorado does have a certain lax point to it. I think Travis from uh, Denver Mushroom Coalition was talking a little bit about that. How like
Mm.
Colorado has a certain like level of protection as it is. So it's legal in Denver, yeah, but as far as like getting caught with mushrooms in Colorado, it has to be a seriously big amount, I think, for them to really care.
Yeah. It's just a comedic headline. Man arrested for magic mushroom grow. It's like, ugh.
Yeah,
who
yeah.
there's no glory in that. See, a lot of the raids, it was because that's where they made their money. There's all this fucking, 80s and 90s money coming, in the early 2000s, fucking, there's all this money that's getting gifted by the federal government to all these like local places, and you got to hit your numbers. Once that federal stuff started drying up, I mean, don't get me wrong, people are still getting their doors kicked in. People are getting their kids taken away. That's why when I was in San Francisco for the Emerald Cup, there was a booth that was selling shirts, and I saw a few of them floating around that just said, make weed illegal again. And it rubbed me the wrong way. I get what you're saying. Weed's not as good as it used to be. Great. We can have that argument. But you know what also isn't the same? I got my kids sleeping in the other room, and I'll take a dab because I got babysitters and
I
everything, and I don't
I
have
think
to
that's more
worry
of a
about
black market thing, man. I think that's more like legacy, like, make weed illegal
uh,
so that the price of weed goes back up and everyone comes back
all
to
right.
kind of
Fair
thing,
enough. Fair
you
enough.
know?
That's still not a good reason. God damn it. People are getting doors kicked in.
No,
Someone in
I
Tennessee
think
is getting
just deschedule it completely, like decriminalize it. I don't think rescheduling is even a good thing at all. I've talked about this on Adam's show in depth where rescheduling is a total uh, Trojan horse.
it sets up the pins. It's a nightmare. It doesn't necessarily have to be. They could do the rescheduling and make it work, but it is just so easy to F that up and make it so it's like pills. Like
Well,
I don't want it to be
that's what rescheduling is that it
yeah,
becomes, part of the uh basically DEA schedule, which you have to follow certain rules and regulations. It's a whole handbook of, stuff that you have to follow and you have to have a pharmaceutical license and under Schedule 3 that is. Um
right.
Schedule 4 and Schedule 5 are a little bit more lenient, but it's still the same kind of deal where um anything that's Schedule 3, if cannabis has a different uh rule book. Basically, everyone else is Schedule 3, like Suboxone and anabolic steroids and all the other drugs that are Schedule 3. They're gonna say, well, what the fuck? Why? What about us?
Yeah.
We're also Schedule 3. So why did they get special treatment? So I think it's going to have to be classified in its own, like, you know, section. Basically, it doesn't fall under the normal pharmaceutical, you know,
And I don't
category.
look into it. I haven't looked into it super deep, but what surface observations I have made, I just look at like the option of like descheduling or unscheduling. I just see that as like it's never going to happen. Do you know anything about it? Could that ever happen? Could they ever even do it the right way?
I
I
don't.
don't have hope.
So, do I think it could happen? Yes. Do I think that it's going to happen? No. I think it's either going to go to scheduling under basically the DEA, scheduling, or it's going to go under the ATF and its own division. Basically, I don't think that there's any other way. But if it goes Schedule 3, we're screwed because all the pharmaceutical companies are just going to exploit it, and it's going to become an absolute nightmare as
I
far
think
as
it was
quality.
Gabe
And
that said, I think Gabe told me that there's also a chance of it could be scheduled under the IRS, like the in certain states, like I think that's how they do it in Colorado. It's like governed by the IRS, so it's really just a money thing. And he said that's the best option. If you just make sure you pay all your bills and everything, they're pretty lenient. Whereas if you get like whatever, I can't remember what he said, the Division of Health, FDA, whatever it was, fucking you know, if it gets passed to the ATF, the ATFC, alcohol,
then we're
tobacco, firearms, and cannabis.
yeah, that's what I was gonna. Yeah, it's exactly where they're going. I think with it if it doesn't get scheduled, but either way, man, all the government getting involved in any way is. Uh, I just don't like the sound of it. Doesn't sound good to me. Anything they get involved in to begin with goes to shit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
Yes.
a lot of speculation, but I think we're good with where we're at now, and the whole THCA thing I think needs to stay too, because I feel like there's two train tracks, right? You're talking the recreational and medical, state programs, and then you have the farm bill, which is THCA and other hemp derived cannabinoids. But the thing with THCA is it's a massive loophole where you can basically sell anything that isn't decarboxylated um,
Right.
as THCA because it hasn't been heated and converted from THCA into THC. Now, there's
Yes.
exceptions, obviously, in products that will pass, like distillate. Um, you can't usually get anything unless you actually have like pure THCA and you're distilling that. It's very hard to get any of that to pass because it is heated and active THC. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, there's a fair number of products that will fail because of the heat. Some rosin will fail just because it was heated too much or too long, or the
Hmm.
temperature was too high.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it took me a while to even figure out. Like, 'cause I was confused. I was like, THCA weed, that's just weed.
Dude, and that's what so I didn't understand it for a while, to be honest with you. Like this has been a thing for a while, and I used to not really be able to wrap my head around it. But anybody who has like a hemp THCA store, the weed is usually no different than actual weed. Now it's probably garbage because they're going out to grab 50 to 100 pounds at a time, maybe more, from Oregon or Washington or Colorado or wherever, and shipping it back to wherever they're at, where their store is, and then they're breaking it all down. So anybody who's tried like a hemp store flower is usually trying stuff that's just $500 a pound that's trash, or they're just buying stuff that's garbage. But there are certain THCA sides of it that uh, are selling, weed and extracts and everything else, and it technically is THCA. There's no difference. Like you can't say this is hemp and this is cannabis. And a lot of people look at like hemp as being CBD or a high CBD kind of deal when it's not. It's much more complex than that. So anyway, it's a whole rabbit hole. But anybody who's selling THCA is really selling weed for the most part. unless you're
Yes.
deliberately growing hemp genetics and saying, "Oh, this is Charlotte's Web or Haley's Hope or anything else that's out there."
Well, I have to throw out once again, this is the most love I've ever gotten times 10 for
Yeah, I
Pine Pile.
don't.
Shout
Crazy
out to LJ Jones,
getting it.
who is now just gifted 5 more subs. What
Let's
is
go.
this a
We're
new
on a
feature?
roll.
Did they just enact this? Is this a new
I
I've
think
never
I
seen
think
this
so,
thing.
man.
Holy shit. Well, welcome, Martin. Oh, welcome of all people. Welcome, cannabis community contributor, CCC, Dab Marino. Thank you, buddy. Big shout out from Gabe and Jaron. They say hi too. They're big Dab Marino fans.
Oh yeah. I was at Gabe's
Crazy.
spot looking at his indoor, and it was looking really good, dude. He wants me to do some work on it, and
His
I mean,
unicorn poop looks exceptionally good.
they all look really good in his rooms. I was
Yeah.
pumped, dude,
Well, I
honestly.
just saw I posted the picture. I run the Jug Dealers Instagram, full disclosure. Some people will message like me and Jug Dealers and like they'll ask different, and I'll be like, I'm both.
I'm
I'm
the
both of
same.
these
I'm the
people.
same guy here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no need to send both of us things. I'm Jug Dealers. Jaron and Gabe are busy. They have their own handles at Jaron H. At Gabe's name is G Money Love.
G Money Love. Yeah.
Try to find him. He's hard to find, but just
No,
type
it's
in
money with a
GM.
U. It's money with a U, and love with a U,
That
and
makes
it's
it way easier.
LUV. Yeah.
G Money Love. It's like when I remember Joe Rogan with Joey Diaz. His at name was Mad Flavor, and he's like, "You got to change your name to Joey Diaz," and he just says, "Fuck you." Until this day, he's still Mad Flavor, and I don't see Gabe changing from G Money Love anytime soon.
No.
I'm very excited. We're going to Spain. I'm going to go to
Oh
Spain
yeah,
with them. Jaron and
that
Gabe
should
booked
be
it.
that should be dope,
Yeah,
dude.
Adam's gonna be there, so I got talked into it. I'm spending my own nickel to fly over there, and yeah, dude, I'm stoked. I haven't been to Europe ever, so it's gonna be my
You're gonna
first.
have a great time there, and especially if
It's gonna be
Adam's
great.
going. I'll talk to him and see what his plan is. I know last year he went, and then he went to like Greece, and he went to a few other places. I think he went to
I mean,
Amsterdam, Spain, and then Greece.
he's kind of like from there, like he's European. He has his European card.
Yeah, I think he's lived in Europe more than he's lived in the U.S. in his entire life.
Yeah, and it took Colorado to bring him home. That's
Yeah,
how baller
well, I
Colorado
think
is.
I think a lot of people though like thought it would be different as far as how legalization went in Colorado, right? So you had medical and then you had rec, and a lot of people weren't really like privy to what rec was. Like it was a new thing, right? We were the first state to do anything like it, and they didn't realize the tax, and they didn't realize the the cap on milligrams and all the other bullshit that came with rec. So, and it was expensive, man. I mean, going from medical to rec in 2014 was not cheap. Converting your license or getting a new license, you were spending a ton of money. But that was the time when you could actually make money in weed. Now, if you have a license, it's very very tough. It's so saturated, and uh, the margins are screwed. That's why most dispensaries are pushing out mids and selling ounces for like 60 to $100 out the door all day.
What's interesting is like how regulation really does screw the pooch. So we had Scott Reach from Rare
Rare
Dankness
dankness, yeah,
on
of course.
Jug Dealers,
Hmm.
and one of the interesting things he talks about is like you almost kind of negotiate with the MED. That's what we call it, the Med, the Marijuana
Of
Enforcement
course.
Division here in Colorado. And he's like, you almost debate like rule change to rule change what's going on, and he's like fighting for like he wanted to install a cure room, specifically a cure room, not attached to the drying thing. It was completely a separate space that he could finish drying, let the cure go, and the MED said no.
Yeah, of
They
course.
said you're gonna have to combine it in
Not
this, and he's
surprising.
like, so a guy like him who actually has his hands, he's in the garden, he has the owner, but he's still like there working at least once a week, going in and checking plants and everything. You got a guy like him, then they're it. He knows how to finagle it. But if you're a middle range, kind of just got in it for the money, and you want to do the right thing, and then the MED's like, no, well, that's it. You're not going to put in that effort because you have a scapegoat. You can say, guys, I'd love to dry and cure it properly, but like, Big Brother won't let me. So we're rushing out this fucking, I
Well,
don't even know how to
dude,
describe it.
that and all the fees and the taxes, and it's just we're in such an early stage of this right now that it's tough to jump into a business. Let's say I want to jump into making liquor, right? And I have a distillery. But the rules and regulations say that if I make liquor, I can only sell it in Colorado or only sell it in a certain city, depending on what my license is, right?
Mhm.
And that to me is total BS. Like, how do you scale a business that you can only have in one state? And you can get a license in another state like a multi-state operator does, but you're so you're running by a totally different set of rules with different growers. I just, to me, is like, you should be able to run one facility and then export it to any state, pay whatever import export tax, doesn't matter, and sell. You should be able to go to a dispensary in New York City and find Colorado weed, California weed, Oregon weed, Washington weed. And that's, I think, the way that it's going, but they need to figure out how that works as far as transport and tracking and interstate commerce.
Yeah.
It might be like Canada, where they have a whole mail system just for the weed.
Yeah, that's interesting. Our Dude Grows co-host Brett, he lives up in BC, and him talking about mailing weed back and
Yeah.
forth between friends and stuff. It really is just like across the whole country. If I were to send a package back home to Iowa, I'm gonna be sweating tits the whole way because I don't know if it's gonna make it. It's gonna get snatched. And on that subject, you use the U.S. Postal Service, not FedEx or UPS.
Yeah, no, you don't want to. I mean, you can use them all. It kind of depends on what you're trying to do, but um, they all have the tech to be able to see what's in your packages. Um,
Yes.
it's
The
just,
organic matter sniffers and such.
yeah, just exactly. There's a ton of different
Yeah.
tech that they have that they can figure out what. I mean, there's ways to get around certain things, but like, it doesn't matter what you use. If you want more reliable, fast service, I'd say use UPS or FedEx all day. But if you are looking just for the lazy man's kind of, throw it out and hope it gets there kind of thing, I'd say definitely
Do you
regular
remember those the Never Get Busted Again videos?
mail.
It
No,
was
I
a
don't
cop.
think so.
It was a cop who was like a interdiction officer, and he would do raids, and then he smoked weed one time. He's in Texas, and he stopped smoke he smoked weed for the first time. He was like, had that same reaction that a lot of us do, where it's like, this fucking shit isn't fucking. Barry Cooper is his name. And so he was like this police officer that became like a dirty hippie. And so he was here. I'll show a picture of him. And so he talked about what was interesting. The reason that I bring it up with that vacuum seal comment there is and so what he did, Kyle, is he put out a series of videos once he smoked weed, teaching every single secret that the police have. He was the guy
Oh
that helped
yeah,
write the book. And he's
I
like,
love
here's
that.
every trick in the book. And he sold these
Okay, I
tapes.
think I have seen that. I think I have. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And so one of the things that I learned about vacuum sealing is there's a thing called permeation. So if you vacuum seal a bunch of weed into a bag and you clean the outside with alcohol, make sure it's all nice and good, and you throw it in a pile of leaves and you send a drug dog out, it'll have a hard time finding it. But if you wait like, 36 hours or so and then do the same trick, it'll find it exactly because the scent molecules are just like pushing through, and there's just like the little bit because the dog's nose is so sensitive. All it needs, because it's airtight. Remember, air is much bigger than a lot of these like VOC scent molecules, so they can go through things that air. So even though it's airtight, air is kind of a big molecule, so it permeates. So if you do
I
vacuum
know.
seal,
Oh yeah,
get it gone fast. Like is
yeah.
clean it, get it gone, and
There's
don't
there's
let it sit
there's a
around in your
lot
paddock.
there's a lot more tricks than that, but yeah, it's a good start.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Everyone's saying
Hell yeah.
USPS. I mean, of course,
Yeah. That's the move if you
definitely.
don't want to get busted. So
Yeah.
I reached out to Barry Cooper. Go spam Gary Cooper. Tell him to come on Dude Grows show. I'd love that. Me and Scott love this guy. We grew up on him both separately. You know, these were the
That's
videos.
awesome. Is he
Yes.
here right now, Scotty, or no? I don't think he's tuned
No,
in.
no.
I
He
should text
sometimes he lurks. Sometimes here's the thing about Scotty. I'll say this for Dude Grow Show too. Sometimes if you put up the bat signal to Scotty, he's there. Sometimes he just lurks and watches the show and doesn't comment. You know, he'll just enjoy it, but sometimes he is there.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
He loved his
yes,
box.
he wants to talk to you.
I know.
Very much. He
I
has
know.
much conversation.
I know.
Him
I
and
have to
Banner
talk
were
to him.
just discussing you when I left the bakery to go get some food. As I'm walking out, I was like, they were
Well,
like, "Oh, you think Kyle would be interested in do it?" I was like, "Kyle is down, man. We've already talked.
I've
about
already
it."
told him I'm down. Yeah. So, well, I'll get that handled with him. But we're doing the hash side of it for DGC this year.
That's going to be cool. So
I
shout out to
can't
everyone
talk.
that demanded a concentrate category at the DGC Cup. We got it
Well,
this year.
hold on. Yeah, there might be a whole different event for it. Yeah,
Okay.
I can't talk too much. I can't say too much, but I should. I mean, I should hear from Dude tonight or tomorrow regarding finalizing it. But yeah, no, the Dude Grows is gonna be, or the cup's gonna be sweet this year. It's
Okay,
gonna
so
be dope.
between you knowing this stuff and Mailman knowing about the Thunderbloom, when this proves, I always tell people, like they'll message me, like Untrained Astronaut messaged me the other day about, he's like, "Oh, how does this work with the DGC Cup?" And I go, "Dude, I attend. I just fucking work here, bro. I don't fucking know nothing
Yeah,
about.
it's
I
above
don't
my
know
pay
nothing."
grade here.
Yeah, so I don't make decisions in any of these organizations, dude. So I just like show up and I go, "What are we doing, boys? Let's
For
rock
sure.
it." So yeah, this is you're getting a dgccup.com for real. I'm not just plugging it for the boys. Once again, I don't make
Let
an
me
extra
see if they've
nickel for that stuff.
updated it. Let me go to DGC Cup's website.
So what do we got there? VIP Dab Cup. It's on the website. You know,
Is
those
it now?
websites change. They change every
Okay,
now and
hold
then.
on. Let me make sure. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not confirmed yet. So
Yes.
this might change over the coming 48 hours.
Yeah, it's still 6 months away. I can tell you it's definitely because here's the thing about Dude Grows. Don't think that we have some sophisticated corporate infrastructure. It's the guys. We're just smoking weed and going, "Wouldn't it be cool if like we did do a hash kit?" Well, all right, man. Call Kyle, man. And then what's
Yeah,
Kyle doing?
we're
Hello.
figuring it out. We're figuring it out. It's gonna be a
Hell
sweet
yeah.
event. And there's gonna be ways for people to enter too if they actually make hash. So
And I will say, just for my own benefit, don't tell me your name first. Tell me your screen name first. I famously like Slayer 420 is like one of my homies from the chat. I see this guy. I talked to him for 20 minutes thinking he was just some rando. And then at the end of the conversation, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm Slayer 420." And I go, "Bro, you're my bro." You know, it's
that's so
ridiculous.
funny.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we don't
yeah,
know your
shout
real
out.
names, just your
Well,
just your.
I'll be happy to know your real name after I know who you are in my mind. You know, I see all these people like Norma G. You know, I see that person. They're around, man. Him. That I Norma G always sounded like a woman. And just for the record, anyone that's confused, he is a male identifying human being
Male
out of
identifying. I love that.
you know, I'm in Denver, bro. You know, dude,
I do know.
I'm a contrarian. You know, like when the liberals are in charge, I get like real like fucking freedom of speech fucking sort of character. And then now that the conservatives are in charge, I'm like fucking trans rights, bro. You know, I just whatever you like. Sarah Silverman has this great line in the movie Run, Ronnie, Run, where they ask her opinion, and she goes, "I'm for against it."
Yeah.
That's my political beliefs. I'm for against it. What do you believe? I believe the opposite.
Yeah, no, we do a lot of the LGBTQ events
I wasn't
in
insinuating
Denver.
that you were.
No, Tops and I do, dude, and they're fucking awesome.
Man,
Ollie and all that entire like community, they're dope as fuck, bro. We have a
oh
really
yeah,
good time at their events. I missed the last one, but um, if you're ever free, you should come to one of their events. We did Hashoween with them. That was fucking sweet.
Halloween.
It was at a barbecue place, and it was like outside, and yeah, those are all really good people though.
Yo, shout out Wichita. I'm gonna be flying into Wichita. My girlfriend lives in Kansas now. I was telling you, I met this cutie at the DGC Cup, and like
Oh
we
yeah,
off, and then everything's going. And I was like, "So do you like work in Denver?" You know, like days later on Instagram, like a week later, I'm like, "So you work in Denver? You know, where do you live? Outside the city?" She goes, "Oh, I live in Kansas."
oh
Yeah, that's gonna be inconvenient, but she is the shit. I mean, I met her at the DGC Cup right off the bat. I meet the hottest girl at the DGC Cup, and she's like, "What up?" And I'm like, "Yo,
I'm
come
like,
on."
yo.
Me and Kyle share a lot of joys in this life. We share cannabis. We share many things. He and I,
Yeah, definitely.
yes, we'll be hanging out quite a bit this summer. Like I've been in I'm getting hernia surgery. Not tomorrow, but next Monday. So like
Oh
I'm getting
shit.
back to life, Kyle. That's been one of the
That
things that's
dude,
been
you've
keeping
been
me
you've been
from.
getting all the surgeries. You had a emergency root canal.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah.
Why
It's a
why
whole
did you have to
thing.
deal with that?
God, the
Oh,
same reason I got the hernia, everything. I made like this whole declaration at 40. I'm gonna get like all of my health done. I'm gonna get my mental health figured out. I'm gonna get my dental health, my physical health. I had dropped 25 pounds. I paid to get Invisaligns. I'm gonna do the whole Invisalign thing, you know,
nice,
the
man.
invisible braces thing.
Taking
And
care of your
I get
health.
that, and then the universe throws up obstacle after I get a gum infection, and they're like, "Oh, we can't do the Invisalign for like 6
No,
more months.
no,
This we're have
no.
to take care of this and everything." And then I'm doing jujitsu. I'm working out. My hernia burst. It's like, well, I can't lift anything above 10 pounds.
Oh
It's like,
fuck.
guys. So I always just look at it like the universe sometimes likes to make sure I want it. Do you actually want it, Grambo? And I go, "Oh, bitch, I'll be back. I
Oh
want it. I'll be back."
yeah.
I'm like,
Here's all the roadblocks and obstacles in your way now, right?
yeah. So
Thomas Cross in the chat said, "Have either of us tried the Dark Horse dispensary?" I haven't, but I did go on Lo's show, and that was fun. But I haven't gotten a chance to go yet. Have you been Grambo or no?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Lo's the homie. She's awesome.
Oh yes, she is the I we follow each other on Instagram, and yeah, I don't know much about her, but I know she's
Well, she was
a good human
the
being.
co-host on Adam's show with Dave for a long time, and then
Okay.
left and did her own thing and did like Dark Horse genetic stuff with Jason, and I think is still doing some of the genetic stuff, but now is doing the Dark Horse dispensary mainly. So,
Oh, okay.
um, yeah, they're. I definitely need to go though. Thank you for the reminder.
No, I go into dispensaries for one reason, and it's to get dialed in gummies, rosin gummies. Like literally, there's a 1 block from my house is this dispensary, and I walk in there, and I'm like, "Hey, I get the 10% local discount," and I grab my fucking edibles and I dip the fuck out. And yeah, I don't go to much dispensaries.
No, I'd go there though for sure, just to support them. I gave them a box, dude, just to try and everything else, and
Nice.
she supported and loved it. So I definitely need to go support them over there. I know that
No,
they were
and
definitely struggling, dude. It's tough because like the location that they're in, it's like they're trying to do something that's very special and unique and very like seed to sale, you know, vertically integrated, which I love. And they're surrounded by people who are doing like the McDonald's model of weed, which is, you know, $60 ounces out of the door for, and it looks good. And most people they'll look at it and say, yeah, for that price, I'm not spending more than that. And it does the job and it's fine. But that's where the market's at. It's like, it's like a race to the bottom. Everyone's competing at this price level of like, it's like I said, 60 to $100 an ounce to the consumer, and the consumer's eating it up. And like good weed is out there, but it's expensive, and people are like, yeah, why would I pay 180 for an ounce or 200 for an ounce when I can go get an ounce that's to me just as good for $60 at this dispensary, and there's 20
yeah.
strains to choose from, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a sad reality that we're in, but for the connoisseurs and people that can appreciate good weed and good extracts and everything else, like they're few and far between for sure. Like 10 years ago, you remember you could go to any dispensary and it was all pretty much for the most part fire, except for like Live Well and like a few of the really shitty
Greens,
ones. Green
my
Solution,
first
yeah.
my first ever gig in the industry was at Green Solution, and we
Uh,
called it internally with the staff. We called it the greed pollution.
the word, dude, the worst, the
Yeah,
worst.
yeah, the
And
worst.
tiny little buds too at all those
Horrible.
dispensaries. Just
They wanted me to go up when I greet a customer. They wanted me to go, "Hi, my name's Josh. How would you like to experience your cannabis today?" And I was just like,
yeah.
I'm not going to say
I'm
that.
not gonna say it. I can't with this quality of weed. I'm sorry. Like here.
For nothing, man. Like for nothing. That was one of the things that, like, with Jug Dealers and Dude Grows, I'm an entertainer, I'm a solo act, So like the idea of like, we here at Pepsi, fuck no, Pepsi paid me to say some shit, man. And like,
For
I ain't
sure.
Pepsi. And that's what made with Jug Dealers and Dude Grows. I was like, I can we with the boys. Like that's like I can be us with the cannabis community. All right, I'm feeling that. That's a merger.
Exactly.
Let's do
Yeah,
this.
with both,
Yeah,
dude grows and Jug Dealers. I feel like two totally
they're awesome.
separate, just shows as it is.
Yeah, I'm
I
trying to merge them. I'm merging it. We got Gabe coming on soon, so shout out Gabe. Jug Dealer Gabe will be on Dude Grows show very soon.
yeah, I think that we were talking about setting that up at the studio.
Yeah,
Gabe's a great dude. I love Gabe. He's
he's the
awesome.
best. He messaged me every day because I have to get my passport to go to Spain. He
Oh
messaged
yeah.
me every 13 hours. Yo,
Yo,
passport.
get your passport. Get your passport.
And then
Yeah, he's
he
the man.
in Vegas, when we were at Vegas, we went to the hottest nightclub, Steve Aoki's birthday. If you know anything about Denver or Vegas raves, it's the biggest thing in Vegas. The Dutch bought a $20,000 table. They all went there, and then like I was coming from the hotel, and I was like, no one's gonna come outside and get me. They're like, oh, come, shoot, we'll get you in. I'm gonna be sitting looking at I'm gonna stand in line, and some bouncer is gonna grab me by the scruff and throw me away. They're not coming out for me. And it turns out, so I didn't go. Gabe did come out for me. He's like, bro, I was out there waiting.
He's the
What
man,
happened?
dude. He's awesome.
He is the man. He is a legit fucking and he knows everybody, dude.
He does.
Everybody.
He does
It's
for
crazy.
sure. For sure. There's a lot of intertwining people in the industry, especially with people like Gabe. Like I know a lot of people that Gabe knows too, but as far as like the crossover, there's a lot of people that know each other from like different gigs or like I don't know, just parties or working together or just hanging out or whatever. So
Yeah, it's
you
a
know how
small
it is, dude.
community.
It's a small like Colorado's a small
Yeah.
world as far as like different communities, and then there's like the whole world of like black market that no one knows anybody as far as
Yeah.
who they are, what they do, but they've been doing it a long time, and yeah, there's definitely a lot of like crossover between DGC, uh, Jug Dealers, I mean Adam's show too, but Adam's show is like more for the OGs and people who are like have been in the industry a long time and just want to like hang out, It's not really for people who are new growers or like want to learn anything about
Yeah.
growing. Adam doesn't talk about grow anything on his show. It's
Yeah.
all like stories and interviews.
I got into Adam Dunn during like the Mitch Shinasa days,
Oh yeah,
like
Mitch, of
the
course, dude.
early days. And
Totally.
so yeah, I found out real quick. But what it did was make, because I was going to move to Colorado eventually. So man, I loved John Doe Radio, Adam Dunn show, Dude Grow show.
Me and you
Fucking,
did John Doe Radio uh
that's where we
with
met.
Tim
You
and
and I
Bike,
met.
dude. The
Tim
Facebook
and
posts
Bike.
of it come up all the time of like when I was at Green Labs or um yeah, dude. I mean, that was
Yeah.
a definitely a different time as far as cannabis is concerned. I mean, people were coming out here and grabbing weed like it was, we were the hub. Like this here in
Yeah.
Cali, I guess we're the two.
When we went to the Cowboy Cup, like Scott was like around the corner doing something, and then Adam saw me and he said, Grambo, come up on stage, we're doing a live podcast. Well, Scott thought I was just off the turnip truck.
Oh
and
yeah,
cannabis. Like this was my first cannabis thing. And he comes around and he literally is like, why the fuck is Grambo on stage right now? Like thinking I forced my
yeah. Oh,
way, like, hey guys,
I heard
I'm
that
a
story.
comedian, you know? And so yeah, it's hilarious to look back and be like, I didn't know, like a moth to flame. I didn't even know what I was doing in that room. Like I was just like, I just know I need to be here. Like I don't know
Yeah,
what they wanted. I wasn't producing their show. Tim produced it. I was just like, I'm here. Cub
yeah. No,
reporter Josh
I'm
Grambo.
here doing it. Yeah. No, you were doing something with the show at the time. I think
I
I
was
don't remember.
writing. I came out because I was doing comedy, and so I was writing and helping come up with bits and like cutaway stuff. But then it refold. This was like the third iteration of John Doe Radio, and it shortly folded. Tim, Tim's got his demons.
Yeah, I didn't watch it towards the end. I didn't watch like the downfall of it, but at its
But I
peak,
had
it
Bike
definitely was
on.
good.
I had Bike on here about 2 months ago. Me and
Oh
Bike hung out
yeah,
for like an
I didn't see
hour,
that.
and yeah, it was super cool. Is he does his clone business over there, so
Of
it was
course,
the
I've gotten a bunch of genetics from him, dude. I've known Bike for a
yeah,
long time. I used to go
yeah.
pick up a bunch of hash from Bike back in the day from Kind Bill off like Colorado Boulevard in the Springs, man.
Oh, Bike and Kind Bill are like
They're tight.
linked up
Yeah,
in the
dude,
past.
they've been tight for
Okay,
a long time. This is when Kind Bill was making absolute fire, and all of the inputs that
okay,
were going into it were like top tier flower from like some of the best growers in Colorado. Like people
yeah.
who aren't doing it anymore, you know? I mean, Kind Bill's not
Right.
even doing it anymore in Colorado. He's in Vermont.
Okay, yeah. Now, Kind Bill, for people that don't know, I met him through the Jug Dealers. Essentially, as they say, like it doesn't credit doesn't go who was first. It goes to who showed it to the world. And one could argue that Kind Bill invented and showed to the world live resin. He kind of was
He's
at
dude,
the
so
forefront.
he says that he probably wasn't the first person to do it, which I don't agree with. Like he says like maybe
Well,
people
so
online were doing it or whatever,
so
but like
Alexander Graham Bell was not the man who invented the telephone. This Italian man that I don't recall the name of invented it, but he
exactly.
didn't show it to the world.
No, he's the
He wasn't getting loud
godfather
with it.
of and like inventor of live resin, basically. I mean,
Yes.
he's the one who figured it out.
And some of the best hash I've ever smoked in my whole life is Gabe's Gary Payton blasted by Kind Bill. Dude, I bought 2 grams from him at the studio, and I walked in the next day and I was like, I'll take a half ounce. And then I took like a week later, I was like, how much you got left? He's like, a quarter. I was like, I'll take the rest of it.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Kind Bill is
yeah.
fire.
He knows what he's doing for sure. He did a whole episode, I think, with Adam where he talked about the origin of live resin and how basically how it progressed and where he's at now and everything. But no,
I'll always thank Kind
him and
Bill.
Giddy Up, dude. Those two definitely
All right.
together
He was
killed it.
he was the first guest on Jug Dealers because I told him I was like, dude, I know exactly because they had some other producer and they were getting like 300 views an episode for like a year,
On Jug
you
Dealers?
know. Yeah,
Oh,
they were called Ready Set Grow at that time
oh,
was the
okay.
name of
Yeah,
their
yeah.
podcast. And when I
I
came
remember.
in, yeah, I was like full rebrand, we're gonna go a different way with it. And so as a guy promising, I can get you like I can get you seen, Kind Bill was the first episode. It got 22,000 views in a week. And they're
Mhm.
like, oh, the kid knows what he's doing, and I was like, I guess I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, he's a great one, dude. He's definitely, but he's also past the point of he needs to do everything like uh differently than how he used to do it. I mean, extraction's come a long way too, right? From like the time when he started doing live resin, the tech was like being invented between like Giddy Up and a few other companies like that were out there. Like Emotech was huge, dude, at the time, huge. And they were the only company that was actually created by like had a team of firefighters and was doing it. And then you had
Mm,
ETS, obviously they were doing it. They're still around charging an insane amount for their equipment. But yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to every system, right? That's out there as far as extraction. And I'm probably going into the weeds for most people that are watching this, but there's uh there's been a lot of progression in extraction. It's kind of my point.
yeah. Well, so we've talked a lot about the homies and the random nationwide stuff. What's going on in What's going on in your world? We're gonna start landing this plane here. What's going on in your world? What's new? You got the new boxes. The
Got
sour
the
D
new
is in the boxes.
Yeah, I got a bunch of new flavors. I got more flavors coming in a couple weeks, actually. My indoor, I'm pulling down. There's all new strains in there. Everything is looking ridiculous as far as like
So I have
what I have.
I got some rainbow sherbet here.
Nice.
I've got some cereal milk. I've got some vanilla custard. There
Very
you go,
nice.
the vanilla custard. I got me some pie dough,
Very nice.
and then I cap it off with the that Chem
Is
4.
it- Hell yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
And you got the sour too.
Well, yeah, that's the black box.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm doing rosin too. I'm doing all of it, obviously. I have a whole thing. I can't talk about it yet that I'm doing.
I have I don't think this is your rosin, but the
No, no, no,
other
no.
two
No.
rosins I have is taking tops is the Globfather.
Yep. It's awesome stuff. It's add
Hell
to
yeah.
so let me see. Can I join the chat? I think I can.
Yeah, you should be in
Can you
chat.
post my Instagram for them
Of
in the chat?
course. Let's find your Instagram.
Because everyone searches it with two N's instead of one N, like it's spelled
Mhm.
here.
And we're all so shadow banned that if you don't
I'm
type it in
so shadow banned.
exactly right, you will not find it. A guy like Cortez the Conqueror, you have to type in every single letter of his name.
Same with
Cortez
me.
the Conqueror.
Same with me. Yeah, yeah,
That's you.
yeah. We've been killing
Mm,
it, dude. Everyone loves the stuff. I mean, that's what we're doing it for. Obviously, is quality first. But
of course.
I think most people would look at the bud that I'm extracting and say, "What are you thinking?
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Well,
what are you doing? Like, this would be so good as flour." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's going to extract. Sorry." Right?
yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
rare to find, man.
Gumsy says he
A lot of
couldn't find it.
a lot of people are doing
So
rosin now, and I do both. So I'll do rosin and live resin in the same strain, same batch, same everything. And
I'll enlarge it so it's a little easier to see there. There you go. And yeah, shoot him a DM. Kyle is a man that can deliver on his promises. Wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? He can deliver on a promise. This
for
guy.
sure,
So hit him up.
absolutely. Yeah, and
It is
everything that we have is fire. I mean, we had one lady. Um, I guess we had a box at Tops's event, and people were opening the jars and whatnot. And this is when we had the new bucket labels that like you can see when they're cracked, which we went back to the old ones. Long story, but uh, this lady got a box from us, and all the jars were like opened and cracked, and she was pissed. So we exchanged the box for her, but um, yeah, with those new labels, I was pissed too. I was like, yeah, I don't like this. I don't. It just the aesthetic and the way that it cracks, and just wasn't a fan of it. So yeah, no, we're working
take
on a
another one.
lot of stuff, man. I mean, the rosin is obviously what everyone wants right now, but I think a lot of people haven't had really high quality, like real BHO. I
Yeah.
think when they think
No.
BHO, and I get it, right? Like most people have access to the bullshit that comes from California that's just trim run that's called live resin, and it's bullshit and it tastes like shit, and who knows what's in it as far as the material that went into it. But
Come on,
real
man.
real live resin is much different.
They froze their trim. That's live resin.
No, no, dude. You're talking trim that's sitting in like in like a barn that's in trash bags piled to the ceiling, that gets extracted and heavily color remediated, and then flavoring added to it, and it's called live resin, and it's like the farthest thing from live resin. So
Damn.
a lot of
I
people
was
just
trying to
haven't
make a
had the real
joke
thing.
about freezing trim, and yours like, no, dude, that would be luxury
Oh
compared to what's
yeah, I
going on.
wish, man. I mean, you're talking just absolute horse food of material.
Damn.
It's gross.
Crazy, man. Well, you and I can talk forever. I'm in my new apartment with my neighbors above,
Yeah,
so I
your
try to
view
cut
is
it off
nice.
around 9.
You got the nice
Oh,
view.
dude. How lucky did I get? I just picked an apartment at
You got
random,
lucky.
and like Denver's so hard, I kind of took it sight unseen. I just needed a place. My lease is ending, and I walked in, and I have so if you had an east south or north facing view, you got bullshit essentially. But I was gifted with a west facing apartment. And what's west of Denver? The goddamn mountains.
You're blessed. Totally
I was
blessed.
blessed. Yes.
Absolutely.
I fucking praise Ganoush. I got a good one. I was super thrilled.
Yeah, that's rare in Denver nowadays, man. So everything's so high demand that it goes so quick. That or they want you to make like, 10 times the rent or something, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. It's one of those things. But yeah, stop by anytime, brother. And I'm gonna come see you here soon. After I get healed up from my surgery, I'm gonna need a couple weeks to recover, and then I'm gonna get back out doing some stuff.
Come on down, man, whenever you want. It's not 6 hours.
All right, buddy. Well,
all right, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Find Tropicana, find Taking Tops if one of those two are going to get you what you need to do. And yeah. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, much love, everybody. Thank you for watching. Appreciate the support.
Appreciate you.
Cool.
So I'll wrap up by saying, dear God, thank you, Crazy Days. Thank you, LJ Jones. Shout out to the 10 new GramBorg members. That's insane. So as we move forward, I do a post show every week. It's probably going to be a short one this week because I got my little bambina over in the other room, and babysitter and I can't just tromp around the house and be wild like I usually do and take you guys around. So, but we're having lots of cool stuff. Shit, like when I do go see Tropicana Kyle, pull out my phone and do some GramBorg only content. So subscribe if you enjoyed this thing. You know the routine, and hit that join button if you want to become the GramBorg. And it's only $4.99. It goes towards, as Scotty likes to say, Grambo needs a Grambo. And if I'm ever going to make this channel a thing, I'm going to have to get someone to help edit it for me. So thank you guys so much. Welcome all of the new GramBorg. Shout out to all of you. I want to shout out everybody, but as it grows, it's going to get harder and harder. So you always remember your first 20, and thank you guys so much. And yeah, thank you all. And I'll see Dude Grows and Jug Dealers this week. You know the routine. So later, fam.
We're dropping knowledge on Grambo Bros.